Greetings War Thunderers, this is Longshot with you again, and welcome to my video on winning a game of air domination. In my first video I looked at the rules that govern this mode and discussed some of its flaws as well and made suggestions for how it could be improved in the hope that Gaijin will continue to work on the mode and improve it, because it certainly does need some polish. But in the meantime, there are a lot of misconceptions about how this mode works. A lot of people posting on the forums very critical of it, saying all it does is encourage a ground level furball, when really nothing can be further from the truth, and it's certainly that is not the way to win a game of air domination. Now in this particular battle I'm flying the Boomerang, which is one of the more over-tiered fighters in the game, at battle rating of 4.0. It does have reasonably good turning abilities, and it does have 2 Hispano cannon, but that's just about where it stops. It's a very slow plane, its turning isn't really that great. A fast moving Spitfire will outturn it, and against a zero or biplane it has no chance whatsoever. And it loses a lot of turning ability when it gets slow. As you can see here, it is a very poor climber. And what I'm doing is I'm zigzagging back behind the battle, just slowly trying to gain altitude while the battle is coming quickly towards me. And that's the key at the start of the game. Even if you're in a poor climb like this, go for altitude. Don't just try and go straight for that furball. Now I'm forced to fight here as a Yak 9 has come within guns range. And I'm just going to talk you through this battle as it develops, and hopefully you'll find this helpful. I'm trying to hang back away from the combat at the moment because I want more altitude. I want to get up towards 4,000 meters if I can. 3,000 meters is only 1,000 meters above the spawn height. That's not far enough, but this Yak 9's obviously got to be dealt with. Unfortunately I'm getting some really bad lag bursts right here. Never mind, he's down. Okay, so I'm just going to resume and continue my slow quest for altitude. And you can see there, with the demise of that Yak 9, the entire enemy team, apart from all of them now, have all dived down to ground level. And that's been the most common criticism I've seen of this mode, that's what it encourages. But as I showed in my other video, there is a flaw to the cap zone, flaw spelled F-L-O-O-R, at around 800 meters. So people who dive right down there to furball are actually not playing the objectives at all. They're outside the zone. So the main aim of this game is to get, from my point of view, is to get the altitude advantage, as we have here, and then keep it. Stop anyone from trying to climb, and force their players who are trying to do so either out of the game or force them to take part in the furball below. I managed to finish off that lag before he got up to force a head on. So basically, because we're holding the upper hand here in terms of altitude, the enemy team really has no chance of winning this game. We've taken that option away from them. They can either lose in a stalemate or they can lose by us capping the zone. They cannot win while we have the altitude advantage. That's the most important point to note straight away. So for them to have any hope in this game, they have to try and wrest that advantage back. And so far there seems to be only one player on their team who is trying, and that's the same guy who is now back. Originally flew the Yak 9, then the lag, and now he's back in a premium P39M. And he's trying to climb. I'm just going to circle around, try and drop in beneath him. It's a fraction of a second too late. Only got the assist as someone else was doing exactly the same thing. It's not just me up at this altitude, there are at least 2 other friendly fighters, and we're going to share the kills around. Also, we've pushed our positions right to the edge of the zone in front of the enemy spawn. We're not giving them any room with which to climb. Doesn't mean they couldn't do so, it means that they need to, instead of trying to just climb straight up at us from spawn, they'd be better off flying away at an angle and climbing somewhere else and then flying to the zone, as I'm scared that F6F over there is doing, but he's being very timid about it, I must say. Just have to keep watching him though, in case he decides to make another run at us. Anyway, the same guy's back, this time in the Yak 7, and again trying to climb. But he's not rushing straight into it, and I'm a bit wary of just diving straight down onto him. He's 1.6 kilometers beneath me, which is only about 2,300 meters, or not much above the spawn height. So if I dive down there, I could find myself wearing a lot of bullets from someone who's just spawned in. So I'm just waiting, and now he's climbed a bit higher, so now it's time to dive in. One thing the boomerangs are very, very good at is these tight circling turns, climbing spirals, while waiting for opportunities to dive. It's very easy to position yourself for a boom and zoom type attack in this plane, as I do again on here on this Heinkel 112. So that's 4 planes down and I haven't even had to reload yet. My altitude's dropped down to 3,400 meters, which is a bit lower than I want it to be. And there's another wave of enemies approaching, and now there's more than one player trying to climb. The P-47's decided he wants to do so. The Yak is of course coming back. The Yak pilot is in a Yak 1. There's a KO-45 looking like it wants to climb as well. I was wary of attacking that P-47 because I knew the Yak would be around me somewhere, and now I'm down only at around 3,000 meters. It is so hard to keep an altitude advantage in this plane because it really just doesn't like climbing. Now I'm in a slow turning battle with this Yak. Cannot allow him to get guns on me. Right, there's a KO-45 at my altitude, but the Yak has to go first. So because I know what his intentions are. And now the KO-45. There you go, it is possible to kill a plane with 2 light machine guns only. Someone else is having a shot at me now, a P-38. They're really making quite a push at this point to try and kill our planes and drive us off altitude. There's a friendly P-39 on his 6, and he's not going to survive that. And now we're starting to capture the zone. And we're capturing it not because we've run the entire enemy team out of planes or anything like that. There's still quite a lot of them left at that furball down beneath. But the ones who have been trying to contest altitude, having lost it at the outset of the game, they are running very thin on planes now. In fact, I think there's only one of them left, this KI-61, who is taking a shot at a friendly Corsair, and that sits him up quite nicely for an intercept run. That's 8 kills in the boomerang. It's been a little while since I've done that. Now we have a wave of bombers, and the guy who was up high in the Hellcat earlier is now up high in a P400, but still being quite timid and hanging outside the zone rather than trying to take us on. Unfortunately, I've got myself rather slow, and there's a B-25 who's going to make a beeline straight at me. Now I can dodge the head on, and I'd rather do it by pulling a split us underneath, but I'll leave it a bit too long to do so. Therefore I get a bit of gunfire at me and take a bit of tail damage. It's probably a good thing from my point of view that 50 cals in this particular instance aren't as good as they used to be. Otherwise I would have lost my tail. Anyway, as this battle winds down to a conclusion, let me look at what we can learn from it as far as tactics to employ in order to go for victory in airfield domination. What you don't do is go for the furball that most players are going to indulge in. It doesn't directly help win the battle at all. You need, if possible, to win that initial high altitude fight for supremacy. If you do, then you want to keep that as long as possible, and you want to move as close to the enemy spawn while still being within the zone as you can. I believe the game would be better if the spawns were further away, but we only have what we have until they make further improvements to the mode. If the other team, however, has won that initial fight for altitude, then don't try and fight them back by climbing straight up from your spawn point. Instead, use the energy you have from your spawn and fly away to the side. Climb somewhere else. Exactly the same as you do in a ground strike battle where there's people up around your bomber spawn. Fly away to the side, climb away from the enemies that are hanging around up there, and then come back at around 4,000 meters or higher and and reverse the tables when you have a good amount of altitude advantage under your belt. Remember, the zone goes right up to 4,800 meters. That's really the only way in which you can contest it from a losing position, and you do need to contest it. If you just give up and go to the fur ball, it's giving up on any hope of a victory in this mode. Anyway, in this particular game, the zone has now been captured, and it's pretty much all over. I'm yet to see a zone capture being reversed. I'm trying to get a shot at this PBJ for maybe a last ninth kill, but it looks highly unlikely. Anyway, this was a fun game, really enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Till my next one, I'll see you in the skies.